layers through its evolutionary process as the good Lord made us. Part of your brain, which is called the reptilian part of your brain, is a survival part of your brain. It is purely instinct. It has no conscious, no nothing. It's survival. One of the things about you as a human being, and all of us, is that we will get a lot of dopamine flowing in our brain to make us feel good if the reptilian part of our brain thinks we are becoming important. In other words, if you're important, you stand a better chance to survive than someone, quote, that's unimportant. So therefore, when you do something that makes you feel important, or makes you feel better than someone else, or you're able to put another person down a little bit, the dopamine starts flowing. You're being rewarded by your brain for doing something that will enable you to be able to survive a little better. It's pure instinct. It has nothing to do with rational thought, because if you thought about it rationally, you would never use a word that would harm another human being. You would never criticize another human being if you thought about it. You would never try to make somebody less than what you are if you thought about it, because it's not the Christian thing to do.
Yeah.
But we do it instinctively because we want the dopamine to flow, to feel good stuff that makes us, if we think we can be important by doing this other stuff, and we don't even know we're doing it.
So
we don't even know we're doing it.
You're telling me that if the neighbor calls up and says, I've got some real juicy gossip, but I can't tell you right now, I'll tell you next week, that we'll go, wait a minute, don't get off the phone, I got to know right now, you can't hang up on me.
That's right.
Because we want to hear it. It feels good, right?
In other words, as Dale Carnegie said in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, years ago, I mean, in the 30s he wrote this, people have a desire to be important. And then he said, no, they do not have a desire to be important. As human beings, we have a craving to be important. And instinctively, our brain tells us that if we can belittle someone else and put them down, that it increases our position in the world and our survival ability. Therefore, the dopamine flows and we get a good feeling out of it, without any thought about the harm we may be doing by using those words to the person we're doing it to. It's not, people hurt other people not because they're necessarily bad people, and they hurt them with words, but it's because they don't think about what they're saying. They react.
Yeah.
And when you react, you can use the word in a way that is not impeccable, and you can use the word to cause harm. Words are worse than bullets. They are dangerous. They cause far more harm than bullets cause, or guns or anything. Because the end result of using words wrong causes harm to people. Rule number one, agreement number one, that you've just made with me and yourself. The agreement is, we are going to be impeccable with the word. We are not going to use a word if that word would hurt another human being. Right? That's our agreement that we've now reached. Agree? Okay. Let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll go to the rule number two.
I tell you what, before you say, wait a minute, Gary, that doesn't apply to me, look over at your husband or wife and say, am I that way? So then maybe you'll know you need to make the agreement. More with Simply the Law and your host, Gary C. Johnson, when we come back after this. Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. We'll be back in just a moment.
Dr. Robert Arts. I'm a professor of education and physics. The reason I like Pikeville College is because we all know each other. It's like we've said a lot of times before, no one's just a number. You know, I'm very passionate about what I teach. I enjoy it. That comes through. I mean, if you walking around talking to a student, they can sense that you enjoy what you're doing. They're going to enjoy it as well because they can see that fun and excitement come out.
Experience excellence. Experience opportunity. Experience Pikeville College.
Welcome back to Simply the Law. During the break, you made a real good point it's not all the weapons of mass destruction. It's the words that are said that leads us to get to the weapons and to get to the wars and everything else.
Words are dangerous. Okay, let's go back to the computer. We'll go to rule number 2. Okay. Don't take anything personally. Ooh, is this a good one? Now, what does he mean by that in this book, The 4 Agreements? People rarely ever do anything because of you. They do it because of what they want, not what you want.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
People do and say what they truly believe is in their best interest at the time, or they wouldn't do it. Don't be a victim of the opinions of others. This will save you needless suffering.
Gary,
now what does all that mean?
I don't know, but obviously you know better than this. You know there's a vendetta out there that people are out to get you, and they spend all their time plotting and planning as to what they're going to do.
What he's trying to say to you is if someone does something to you, it's not because of you. It's because they believed it was in their best interest,
Yeah.
or they wouldn't have done it.
Yep.
So it's because of them, and it's how they are living their life, not how you're living yours. If you take it personally, you will get mad, you will get angry, you want vengeance, I'll get them, and you'll end up wasting all kinds of wonderful, precious time that the good Lord has given you and put you on this earth for nothing. Don't take anything personally. If someone calls you a name, so what? That's their opinion. That's not who you are.
Let me ask you a question. Out of the things that we actually do take personally, how much of it is perception as opposed to what ends up being reality?
Perception is reality. Now, what do I mean by that? If I could hold this up and say this is a can of Coke, if that's what you see, it's a can of Coke to you.
Yeah.
It's really a mouse, but it could be a can of Coke if that's what you perceive. Now, taking that one step further. Perception is reality to the person that's perceiving it. Your reality is who you are. You know who you are. You know what you are. You know what you stand for. And I'll bet you that you're sitting there and you know you're a good, decent human being, that you would never harm anyone. You're a good, decent human being, and you know that you do the right thing all the time. Right? You do.
Yeah, or at least try to.
Now, why would you ever worry about what somebody else does and take it personally that would try to make you be other than that? That's their problem, not yours. So no matter, I don't know how long it's been since I have lost my temper or been mad. I've lost the ability to get mad. And I did that years ago because I understand that when someone does something, it's because they do it because they think it's what they ought to do, or they wouldn't be doing it, and it may be messing over me bad.
You know,
my job is to figure out why.
I want to tell everyone, this is the truth. I've been with you way over a decade doing radio, television shows. I've ridden in the car with Gary, spent a lot of time to him. I have never heard you raise your voice. I mean, not even raise your voice, let alone get mad or get angry.
Honestly, your temper is nothing but an emotion. That's all it is. Getting mad is nothing but an emotion. As I've said on this program before, emotions are crazy. If you give your emotions an opportunity to take control of you, they will destroy you. Simply because emotions don't have any logic. Therefore, you have to learn. I don't get mad. And I don't worry about getting even. And I would strongly recommend to you folks to do the same thing. Because you can have a much better life. I don't have any enemies, I don't think. If I do, I don't know it. And if they are my enemies, that's okay. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to acknowledge that they're my enemies, and I'm not going to acknowledge that someone's out to get me. I'm not going to acknowledge anything that makes me feel bad inside. And I would strongly recommend you folks do the same thing. It's amazing what a wonderful life this is if you'll just live it. Let's go back to the computer. We got another one we got to get to. There's 4 of them, and we may not get to them if we're not careful. Okay, what's our next one?
This is going to be a tough
Don't make assumptions. Okay, now what's he mean by that? Imagined slights can cause serious problems in relationships.
Good heavens, have you hit on the... Listen, apologize